Okay, so it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I spent a good long day creating the outline for the class for SQLite. So I just dropped the self-study program for the Bottle Web App Framework. So we have Python up, we have the Bottle Web App Framework up, and so now I'm working on SQLite. Then after that, we're going to do Linux. So I spent a nice long day doing some real work to tire myself out a little bit before we do what we apparently are going to do every day for the next 4 years. Talk about Trump. Talk about Trump. Oh, because as I've said, businesses don't necessarily need good regulations. They don't necessarily need good policies and good taxes. They need stability. They need stability. And apparently, we are not going to get that out of Trump ever again. Because it's not enough. It's not enough to shut down USAID. So something like $72 billion in funding going out for USAID, not enough. He's going to try to shut that down. Not enough that he sent out severance agreements or whatever to almost all federal employees. Not enough that he sent out severance papers to national security employees, CIA, NSA. In this time that we are in a war, right? Nobody will shut up about the fact that we are in a cyber war with China. And so that's why he literally put out the offer to damn near everybody in the intelligence community that they can leave, that they can take money and they can go the hell home. Because in modern warfare, the one thing we don't really need is CIA or NSA or any of that kind of stuff. No. But anyways, all this insanity is going on. And on top of this insanity, Trump is stating that he wants us, the United States, to control the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip. Is there anything in the world that is a lesser priority or lesser than most of us would want than controlling the Gaza Strip? Because we as Americans can turn the Gaza Strip into the next Riviera. Now, what I don't understand here is, again, apparently we elected Trump to be America first. America first, America first, America first, America first, America first. So we're not turning St. Louis into a Riviera. We're not turning Detroit into a Riviera. We're not going to put the full might of our military to rebuild our urban centers. No. We're going to send our military to the Gaza Strip to forcibly remove the Palestinians, rejuvenate the entire area to make it like the Riviera, and then make it for the world's people. There is nothing quite so non-colonial as chucking out all the locals, renovating the area, and then saying, well, this area is for the world now. This area is for the world. You don't really own this area. We're the ones that redeveloped it after our weapons flattened it. So this is basically the insane shitstorm that we are currently dealing with. And I don't even grasp it at this point. Again, America first, America first. If you wanted to take the U.S. military, we got a huge military. If you want to take the U.S. military and you're like, you know what, we're going to go into our urban centers and we are going to do these massive construction projects. Again, if you have been to Baltimore, if you have been to Cleveland, if you've been to St. Louis, again, these were amazing cities and they have a lot of structural issues. They just have a lot of structural issues. Again, when I lived in Baltimore, that was one of the big problems. Is like the water system. The water system was created 100 years ago. The thing is, it was created at basically the height of the population and the height of the tax system. And then as, the population and the tax base has plummeted, they now have a water system that is basically damn near almost impossible to maintain. So especially with RFK being head of National Institutes of Health or whatever that was going to be, National Health Service or whatever he's going to be the head of, wouldn't it be amazing if we sent our military in there to be able to rip up these water pipes and do that kind of work to renovate the American heartland, the beating heart of America, America first. But it's America first after Israel. I mean, it's America first, obviously, after Israel. Everybody knows Israel is number one. And then, we're the first after them. We don't even have to call them the first. We don't have to call them the first because everybody knows that they're the first. Ergo, when we call ourselves the first, everybody gets what that means. So yeah, so basically Trump wants to go in the Middle East, deal with this entire crap show, because apparently that has a goddamn thing to do with the United States. Again, we can't properly fund Ukraine. Oh, Ukraine, we have to back off of because whatever, that's not our issue. Again, NATO, we have to get out. We have to get out of NATO because Europeans' military issues are not our issues, which I actually agree with. Again, as I've talked about for a long time, we need to get the fuck out of NATO. NATO should not be a problem. We should have a mutual aid pact with NATO, but NATO's NATO. Let France and Germany and the UK do whatever they want with Russia, right? If they get invaded, maybe we come back to deal with them again. But this is what I don't understand with all these presidents, right? All these presidents do things like we need to back off of all this, forever war thing and get out of NATO because it's not our responsibility. And then they get into office and they're like, well, but what we really need to do with our military is send them to Greenland and send them to Panama and send them to the fucking Gaza Strip. And this is the insanity that we are dealing with right now. And how will this work out? Is this shock and awe? So one of the arguments that could be made with Trump is that this is shock and awe. This is the first 2 weeks he's in office. So basically for this first month or two, he's going to try to hammer through all of this crap that he's trying to do. And then after that, it will relax. Once he's molded the federal government or whatever to his liking, then he'll stop. Is that the case? Or is he just a fucking Diet Coke, cracked out old man that has lost his fucking mind? That's what I don't understand about all these politicians. Again, that was supposed to be one of the things with Trump. One of the supposed to things with Trump is, again, get out of the forever wars. Again, we should respect our soldiers. Our soldiers are some of the most important people in our entire society. God knows what they actually protect, but they really are. We really should cherish our soldiers. And so the idea of a 20-year war in Afghanistan, where basically they got shredded, our soldiers got shredded to lose to the Taliban. We went in, the Taliban was there. We left, the Taliban was there. Basically, all the pain, suffering, and money that we put into Afghanistan was a fucking waste because of the politicians. Right? Again, Iraq. We went into Iraq, and we're told after we got out of Iraq that Iran has more control of Iraq than they did before. Right? And so again, the idea, our soldiers should be used for actual conflicts that have a goddamn thing to do with the United States, and that is it. And then these jackasses get into office, and then all of a sudden, our young men and women become fucking pawns in their grotesque goddamn game. Because again, think about putting our soldiers into Gaza. Who in their right mind that is not clinically fucking insane would think about putting our soldiers into Gaza, right? You've got Israel there, you got the Palestinians there, you have the whole Middle East debacle that's been going on for God knows how long at this point. You're gonna put our young men and women into that fucking insanity for what? For fucking real estate, development? Oh, we're going to put the men and women that are willing to risk worse than death, and anybody who has not served the military, you may not grasp what that means. There is fucking worse than death, especially after 2000. Our medical system, our triage system has gotten so fucking good. There's a lot of people that wish they hadn't lived because the consequences are so fucking brutal. Our men and women are willing to risk that for this country, and this jackass is talking about sending them to the fucking Gaza Strip. For what? For what? So he can pretend to be a goddamn alpha male. Look at me. I'm so strong. You're not so fucking strong. They're fucking strong. The men and fucking women of this country are going to pay the consequences for this jackass piece of shit. But anyhow, how does this have to do with technology? How does this have to do with business, you say? I think this is going to be the chaos that we're going to be seeing for the next 4 years. Again, we have had not necessarily a good stability, but we've had a stability in our society. We've had a stability in how systems have worked for a couple of decades now. Right? Again, the improvement of logistic systems, the FedEx of the world, the UPS of the world, the continued integration of globalization, all of these things. Your ability to just go onto Amazon and get something in 2 hours or overnight or whatever else. This is able to happen because of ever more interconnected systems. And what we see with Trump, when he literally is talking about sending military forces against a NATO ally, Greenland is a NATO ally, right? When he puts a trade war on Mexico and Canada, who are close trade partners, and then China, and then God knows what the hell's going on with that. When he's talking about sending our soldiers into an absolute and utter shit show. Again, what should happen to Gaza? I ain't Gaza. It was the thing like back in the day. Back in the day, people used to ask me about, how I felt about gay marriage. Like, Eli, what do you believe about gay marriage? And you know what I told people? I ain't gay. Ask a gay person what the fuck they think about gay marriage. Here's the thing. I ain't gay. Let them figure the fuck out. Again, I ain't Gazan. I ain't Gazan. I ain't Israeli. I ain't Middle Eastern. There is no fucking way our soldiers should set foot into that horse crap. And he talks about it nonchalantly, right? Again, how they're going after the national security apparatus, how he's going after foreign aid policy and these types of things, and he's doing it nonchalantly. And the thing to be thinking about, we talk about macro forces. When we talk about collapse, when we talk about events, things go slowly and then all at once. Right, and that's the issue that I'm concerned about here. Is our economy is flaky. Our economy has not been good for a while. Right, we were getting to the end of our bull market basically before COVID hit. That's one of the things I talked about before COVID. I said there's going to be a black swan event. I'm not psychic or anything like that. It was just, look, we've been going for about 10 years now. Every 10 years you get a black swan event. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to get one, right? We got COVID, right? Well, the weird thing is, like, we got COVID and the stock market dropped. The stock market in March of that year dropped, but then went up. It's been going up and 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 up ever since. And it's like, well, wait a minute, but we had COVID and the stock market was going up, and we have the Ukrainian war and all that with food and a whole bunch of stuff not being able to get come out of Ukraine and Russia anymore, and the stock market is going up, and the inability to get energy into Europe because, again, the disaster is all that, and the stock market is going up, and you have all these events that just should kneecap the stock market. And I'm not saying that to be like, haha, the stock market sucks. I'm just saying, like, look, I mean, there's issues in the world, and the stock market should take a bit of a haircut. People should reassess what's going on, and the stock market goes up again. Stock market hasn't taken a haircut. It's been a long time since that hippie-ass stock market took a good haircut, right? It's just been going up and up and up and up. And so we have this president that comes in and starts making all these changes. Again, think about this. When he talks about saving money, right? You have to be careful when you talk about saving money, because what you're also talking about is not spending money. And the money that you don't spend, that you quote unquote save, isn't going into the system. How many people's jobs are being eliminated? Good white collar jobs with health benefits and the whole nine yards are basically being eliminated overnight, where they're not going to have an income. And then how do they pay their mortgages and their rent? And you say, well, they can just get a job somewhere else. But as I talk about, as more and more people get laid off at the exact same time, that becomes a nasty fucking spiral. And then as that goes on, again, all the additional things that they would spend money on, going to Starbucks, grabbing a beer, the breweries, going out, watching movies, all of that money starts coming to a halt. Which again, smaller business, and that's what I talk about with the Great Recession, right? When the Great Recession, when Bear Stearns fell, I didn't give a fuck. It was like, oh, Bear Stearns fell. Huh, curious. I didn't give a fuck till about 9 months later. Right, Bear Stearns fell, then the real estate market had problems, then this had problems, and this had problems, and this had problems. Then it was like April the next year. Then I got screwed, right? And that's the thing. So as the money stops, as he tries to sell, again, the federal office building, he wants to sell a massive amount of federal office buildings, dump that onto the market. What's that going to do with the value of office space on the market? Doing these trade wars, again, as businesses have to make decisions, how does that all come together to create a environment that's conducive to business and actually making things better for the American people? Again, when you hear these buyout offers, essentially for everybody in the federal government, not buyout offers for interns, we're going to get rid of interns, not buyout out offers for like HR, we're going to turn HR into AI, just buyout offers across the board. And like I say, with those buyout offers, think about it. Many times, the best people are going to be the ones that leave. Because they have a union, right? Federal employees generally have a union. They have good benefits, all that kind of stuff. So if I'm a good employee, if I'm a hot shot, and the federal government's already been a pain in the ass anyway, I could make more money in the private world anyway. I've been wanting to make a difference. Whatever else benefits are nice, that whole nine yards. You see this crackpot come in, and you take off. You're like, fuck it, I'll get another job. Then think about that. Think about if you have brain drain in the federal government. Federal government's bad enough. Then think about if you had brain drain on top of that. And then what kind of situation does that put us in going into the future? Again, and you add on things like the deporting the illegal immigrants. Again, at scale, at mass, 1,500 a day. Again, it sounds weird to think about, but think about how much money is in real estate in the United States. And think about this, right? Housing prices have been going up and up and up and up and up. And I talk about that. One of the things here in Asheville, when we bought our house, was around $500,000. For us to move up to a slightly nicer house at this point, it would be like $1.5 million. That's just reality, right? Anyways, one of the reasons we're thinking about moving to Miami is just Asheville is literally cost comparative to Miami or DC. Not quite to New York or San Francisco, but to Miami or DC or other major metro areas, Asheville is literally now cost competitive, which is not a good thing. It's cost competitive with South Beach, basically on a McDonald's salary. Anyways, but one of the things to think about is as you start doing these mass deportations, those people lived in houses. I go, what? Mexicans live in houses? Yes, they do. And they were paying rent, right? A lot of these folks go to jobs, they pay rent, they actually pay tax money, pay Social Security money. They may not be paying into their account, they're paying it into somebody else's account. That's his own stupidity right there. All of a sudden, you start chucking thousands, tens of thousands. We get down to like hundreds of thousands of people out of this country. What is that going to do to the property market, the residential property market? And again, at this point, like that's the thing. Like when we had the Great Recession before, people didn't have enough money to pay for their mortgages. Right? They got mortgages. They were adjustable rate loan mortgages. So the mortgage rate adjusted up. They literally didn't have enough money to pay for it, and so they walk away from their house. One of the interesting things now with these houses is that a lot of people, they can pay the mortgage. right? Until Trump lays them off. Anyways, they can't pay the mortgage. So you're paying mortgages on a house of like 800,000, right? So now we have 4 years. We have 4 years since I bought this house, right? You now have these insane housing prices. You then you pull out a chunk of the population at the exact same time you start hammering the economy, and interest rates are high, right? So a lot of people bought $800,000 house with a 3% interest rate. Now people have less money to buy a house, and the interest rates are so high they're able to afford even less. So somebody that could have spent 800,000, let's say 2 years ago, can now only afford 500,000 again. What does that start to do when so much of middle class American wealth is tied up in their real estate, tied up in their housing? Mortgages you can afford for a house that you pay 25% more than it's now currently worth. What does that do to our overall system? And so yeah, that's what I'm pondering right now. What do we do with abject chaos? What do we do with a president that literally does not give two shits? He's so high on his own supply of Diet Coke, right? Allowing Elon Musk to run rampage over the federal government. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the good thing at the end of the day, the good thing at the end of the long day, after 3 and some odd years is going to be over this mess, is I do think this is going to force Americans to have a come to Jesus moment of what the hell do we actually care about. Again, we've been dealing with our system. We've been dealing with our society under inertia for 20 plus years, 20, 30 years. Again, I mean, we used to complain about healthcare inflation back in 1999. Oh my God, can you believe how expensive health insurance has become? Remember that in 1999? We complained about that shit in 1999. Globalization, we complained about back in 2004. Use of our military, we've been complaining about for a long time. Again, the imperial presidency. Oh, that sounds adorable. Remember when Bush was considered the imperial president? We're like, oh my God, look at all the power Bush has. I thought we were trying to get rid of the imperial presidency. And now we have Trump. Trump makes Bush like a pansy as far as an imperial presidency is concerned. Anyways, so I think over this time, it is going to force a reckoning in our society to figure out what exactly it is that we care about as he destroys the foundations of our systems. It forces us to think about what should those foundations actually look like moving forward. And again, the sad thing with all this, all these massive changes that he's making, I don't see this massive change for healthcare. I don't see this massive change for housing. I don't see this massive change for education. Oh, he's going to get rid of the Department of Education. Yeah, we got to get rid of those DEI initiatives. But again, it's kind of like that whole defund the police, right? They say defund the police, and then they just assume that mental health care will be funded. It's never fund mental health care. People aren't screaming in the streets, fund public mental health care. They're screaming defund the police. Again, that's the whole thing. Okay, they're going to destroy the Department of Education. We're going to destroy the Department of Education to get rid of DEI initiatives. Yeah, but how is that going to teach our 16-year-olds calculus? How is that going to get our students on the path to becoming doctors and scientists and all that kind of stuff? Great, you got the DEI out. But that doesn't mean that we just have better students at the end of the day. Again, attacking China, attacking Canada and Mexico, talking about going to the Gaza Strip. How does that secure our retirement programs for our older people? Again, Gen X is going to be up for retirement in not too long. I see that shit. You all got to make more money, so there's more money in the Social Security system. I work my ass off every day to empower you so you can pay more money in the Social Security system, so I don't starve to death. But think about that for Gen X. How is anything that he's doing improving the outlook for retirement in the United States? It's not doing a goddamn thing. So, anyways, that's the chaos that we're going to be going into, and how to chart your path in that chaos. My argument always is, and I think will always be, if you can understand your value proposition, you will be in a far better position. If you are in a job and you have no idea, literally no idea what your ROI is to the company, you're probably in a bad spot. Again, that's one of the interesting things I think we see with a lot of these MAGA supporters is, I mean, it's going to be funny when they get fired. I mean, again, how many middle management MAGA supporters are out there basically have worthless jobs? As they cackle about the federal government getting destroyed, they don't realize their jobs are basically worthless. Their jobs are moving on inertia far more than the federal government is. And so one of the things to be thinking about there is how do you provide value to your business? If you got laid off tomorrow and you had to go into an interview, how would you explain to the next potential boss how hiring you is actually going to make the business more profitable? And again, thinking about that with your skill sets. Do you have a skill set to be able to fully develop and deploy projects? Again, the whole idea, again, a full stack developer. You don't necessarily even have to be a good full stack developer, but can you build for the full stack? Do you really intrinsically understand why the niche that you know? So again, you may be a database person or you may be a front end person, but if you know the full stack, you know why the niche that you really focus on is valuable, right? The reason you should hire me as a front end developer is because with the front end systems that I create, blah, they are 25% more efficient or have better latency because I know the color codes, right? RGB, red has a 0.0001 millisecond latency increase over blue. God knows what, right? But can you explain that type of thing? And then thinking about like what your position is. Are you in a solid position? Again, that's where my wife and I really are thinking about leaving Asheville because again, we moved here and it was before the big, so, again, with work from home, just everybody piled in. It's just insane. Again, and so many people from California and all these different places. And they just piled into this mountain community, jack the prices of everything up. So locals can't afford it anymore because there's no local economy for it. And that's one of the things like we're looking at. It's like, well, if Asheville is now cost comparative to Miami, not Miami, South Beach, South Beach. If it's now cost comparative to South Beach, and Miami has 6.7 million people, it has an international airport that has nonstops to damn near anywhere you can have a nonstop to. Like if a plane can get to it with one tank of gas, it's got a nonstop there. Fucking beautiful, right? When you start looking at all that, when you look at the chaos that Trump is creating, do you want to be in some place like Asheville or do you want to be in some place like Miami? And again, these are the things that I'm actually thinking. Again, a lot of pundits out there, a lot of people talking, right? They talk out their ass because it doesn't actually matter. They're not actually talking about their decision points. These are the actual decision points that I'm trying to figure out going forward. Because I think we're going to have a lot of chaos. We're going to have a lot of chaos. We're going to have a lot of crazy shit happen. And I don't think that's this senile fucking bastard takes any responsibility for his actions at all. Again, every day I hate Biden a little bit more. The only reason we're in this mess right now is fucking Biden. Fucking JFK wannabe senile old bastard didn't fucking drop out so we could have a real primary. And because of that, we got Kamala Harris, right? The diversity hire vice president that nobody really wanted as president. And so now we get Trump. Anyways. Things to ponder. Things to ponder. Can you imagine our soldiers going into Gaza? For now. Not like World War III is starting and that whole World War III. Not like World War III has started and for some reason Gaza is a good landing place. D-Day in Gaza. No, we're just gonna send our soldiers to Gaza, like now. Because, yeah, sending our soldiers to rebuild Gaza makes sense to fucking Trump. Using our soldiers to rebuild St. Louis, I mean, again, America first. After Israel. After Israel. So, anyways, there's some thoughts for the day. I had to work today. I had to do some good work today so I could calm down a little bit. So I could do this video. I tried to do this video earlier in the morning, and I just screamed. It was just screaming. So yeah, if you again, with this whole everything going on politically and everything else, if you feel too stressed out there, you don't know what to do, do work. Push your ball forward. Again, for me, I dropped that Bottle Web App Framework class yesterday, or series yesterday. Working on SQLite series now. We get that done. We'll do the Linux series. Push the ball forward. I can't stop Trump from destroying our national security apparatus because he's a psychotic old piece of fucking shit. I can't stop the deaths that are going to occur because we just pulled God knows how much foreign funding from programs that were keeping people alive. Right? Those people are going to die because Trump doesn't give two shits. I can't do anything about that. Probably can't even do a goddamn thing about our troops getting sent to Gaza to fucking turn into the Riviera or what other, right? You know what I can do? I can push my ball down the field. I can do my meetings with people to try to point them in the right direction. I can do the Zoom classes, again, to try to help people out, get them educated. We can do the self-study program, again, creating these class series that basically will live, as long as I have an account on Wix, they'll stay up there, right? That's what I can actually do something about. And so in these days, again, that's what can you do? I think about that when my wife had the cancers, because my wife had the second cancer. I figured that was it. First cancer sucked. Thyroid cancer is a pain in the ass. And breast cancer. Anyways, but that was the thing, right? There's ups and downs. There's surgeries. There was recovery. There's all that kind of thing. And one of the things I learned during that period, my lived experience, was how to do whatever work you could do that day. Right? So during good days, when things are going fine for like a week or so, I would do high level, high quality work. Right? I'd be doing the marathon of or sprinting as far as work is concerned. Really high quality, really good stuff, put a lot out of it. But then there'd be other times, right? I should be going into surgery or the recovery processes and that kind of stuff. I would be physically tired. I'd be mentally tired, be emotionally exhausted. And so then I went on to QuickBooks. And if you're an entrepreneur, there's always a work you can do on QuickBooks. And I would just spend a day trying to track down why the hell 10 cents, where the hell 10 cents went. Usually $10, something like that. Thousands of transactions trying to figure out why this column doesn't match with that column, right? That's the type of thing, right? On the tiring days, wrapping cables. You got a pile of cable somewhere. You just sit there, grab your box of cable. Your brain can't deal with it. You just wrap the cables. You organize stuff. You do that type of work. Every day you do what you are able to do. And if you do that, it's amazing how far you can get. Again, if you can only walk a mile a day, that's still a mile that you've gone. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Again, this shit ain't fascist. This is whatever this is. I don't even know what the hell this is. I don't know what the hell this is. This is what it is. So anyways, with that, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. See y'all later.